Record. And now we go. Let's all receive one breath. Ah. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I'm very happy. I just landed back in the magical space of Ubud, Bali. And I was for 3 weeks now facilitating a teacher training in the gorgeous country of India, in a less gorgeous city of New Delhi in this cold December. And I am very happy to also do a facilitator training in a few days on the 4th of January in Bali. So if you feel called to jump on the plane from India, welcome. If you're in Bali at the end and you wish to join, welcome. I also offer a curriculum fully online. So if you feel, oh, that's interesting and that's different, I'll share some links for you to look at my offering. I do things quite differently from other people. And yeah, I would love if you wanted to check it out. So that's about me, and it's all under breathingcoldbali.com and breathing_cold on Instagram. I wanted to make this hour and a half hour discussion, 30 minutes Q&A about how to become an amazing facilitator. And I've been training more than 600 people. I had 7,000 people in workshops over the last 10 years. And I've really learned the hard way what not to do. So most of my teaching doesn't come from necessary mastery, immediate mastery, but having explored different ways of facilitate and coming up now with a recipe that works. And some very, you will see everything you're going to hear is it's very simple, it's straightforward. It's not necessarily easy, but I believe we are all facilitators. And that's probably the first thing I want to say, that when I say facilitator, doesn't mean you are, a yoga teacher or facilitating a circle. We are all boyfriends and girlfriends and mother and father, and we have teams and people around us and families. So somehow we want better connection. We want to be able to pass on certain messages to our parents without being triggered when they are saying something. So how can I communicate better? How can I be more present when I'm not okay? How can I regulate myself when I'm not regulated? So for me, to become an amazing facilitator, it's all about that. Is very much how can I be a more embodied version of myself? How can I, step up as a human and show up in my full authentic expression so that I can have better friends, better relationship, and then ultimately, yeah, be happier. So for me, it's very much about congruence and alignment and integrity. And I want to break it down so that those are concepts that actually hit home and can be very much applicable to you in your own facilitation. It also comes from joining, I don't know, hundreds of sessions and being mostly frustrated with my facilitators. And it's always something that I find, oh, what it is that doesn't really work for me. And really feeling into it and trying to understand what makes me not align with some facilitators. So it comes also from that place. And then in other cases, I feel, oh my God, I could spend all my life with this person. I want to follow this guy, whatever he's doing. I want to be with him. I just align. I just love whatever is coming up with. So it's reflection on all that. So the first one is probably one you can spend the rest of your life working on, is to know yourself. And I think a lot of facilitators, they have not done the work or not enough, so that they don't have that intimate connection with themselves. If you're not embodied, if you're not aware of some of your biases and your own stories and your own traumas, then you're likely to be easily triggered when someone is not going your way, or where things are, just bring you into the space where you are reacting instead of responding. The more you get to know yourself, the more you'll be able to have awareness of how you are being triggered or not in any situation. So for me, an amazing facilitator has agency. He has the ability to go through whatever is coming his way. And when he or she is not very comfortable, to have a little bit of ability to have awareness. Hang on a minute, there is something personal going on right now. And I'm going to receive a few breaths. I'm going to be with it. I'm going to choose to not react. And I'm going to develop agency that I can respond. And this is something that is going to be a life changer, because all of a sudden you're going to drop judgment. You're going to be able to be in a space where you can just take radical responsibility. I hear so often facilitators complaining about their students. The same way I hear over and over partner complaining about their partners, their parents, someone else. You know, the world will just be nicer if everybody was just doing everything the way I think they should be doing. And that's the number one mistake we make as humans, is we don't receive people as humans. We just see reality through the biases of our own reality. And the more you get to know your parts and parts of you, the more you are going to be able to show up with just curiosity and compassion in spaces. And this curiosity and compassion, you can apply to your parents when you go home for Christmas. You can apply it to relationship. Yeah, I don't believe that it's about. Oh, is the sound not good? Lina is saying it's not good. Can you hear me for everyone? Yeah, so it's just you, Lina. Okay, so for me, it's very much about having the ability to no longer take things personal and at the same time take things personal. Like, we are all wounded children who are trying to do our best. And we've developed some coping mechanisms, some adaptive response, some way of dealing with what happened to us as children. If we haven't done the work on ourselves, we're just going to just keep running the program all our life, judging others, being opinionated. And the moment you start to have, hear me out, compassion for yourself, appreciation for yourself, when you drop the shame, when you drop the guilt and says, oh, that's interesting. I'm, to talk about things that are personal. Some of you were in my last training. If I am a little bit with the arrogant part of me, if I'm a little bit going to be spend time with the liar part of me, see, in our culture, in our society, there's no real space for the arrogant part and the manipulative part, because we are told that some parts are good and some parts are bad. It's good to be generous, it's bad to be stingy. It's good to be truthful, it's bad to be manipulator. It's good to be humble, it's bad to be arrogant. So somehow, because society is just a mirror of what's happening also inside of ourselves, we push away parts of ourselves. We reject parts of ourselves. Because if the world really knew all my parts, then no one will want to connect with me. Yeah? And that's a mistake. The more people see you as a human, they see your shadow, they see that you own your wounded parts, the more they will trust you. The more they will relate to you, because guess what? We are all the same. And that's a little secret, my little chicken. We are all the same. We all have experienced shitty situations, and we've developed some coping mechanism to survive. And maybe what was okay when we were 5-year-old is still the way we show up when we're 40, 50, 60-year-old. Even though the triggers of early childhood are gone, we still behave the same way. The people pleaser, the controller, the overachiever, name it, all the parts of you that you feel, oh, I want to shift it. I want to change it. I wish I was not like that. Those are your jewels. Those are your gifts you want to work with. I promise you, when you will enter a space of radical acceptance, of radical responsibility, of self-love to the next level, when you welcome with compassion and curiosity all parts of yourself, and only when you do that will you be able to accept those parts in others from a genuine space, not from a place of I've got my shit together, and I can be judgmental of everyone else. No, from a place of someone who's walked the path of radical acceptance. Because what you suppress, what you push away, what you resist persists, amplifies. You push a balloon in the swimming pool, it's going to go very high in the sky. So the more you push away parts of you, the more they're going to come out in a very unconscious behaviors. And guess what? Here is a little secret. You're an animal. And we are animals. And as such, we feel, we know, we sense. This is not something that you will say or not say. We will just perceive when someone has walked the path. We will perceive when someone is owning their shadow. And only when they own their shadow will we trust their light. But when people are just showing their light, which you see over and over in our leaders, what you see over and over in most facilitators, when you do that, people don't trust you. What makes people trust you is when they see your humanity, when they see that you own your wounded parts. And I promise you, it's hard to believe, but take it for granted and try it. No one will judge you. If you share the wounded parts of you and you reveal them and you bring them to light, you give permission to others to do exactly the same. And now you step into a field of transformation. Now you're shining lights of transformation because of the mirroring brain, because kids don't do what the parents say, they do what they do. And guess what? Your students are your little kids. They come to you because they see you as an authority, a trusting figure. And they've been conditioned to do exactly the same with their parents and their teachers. Yeah, they just repeat the way they've been conditioned. So if you show them a path of authenticity and vulnerability, guess what? You're also telling them it's okay to be human. It's okay to own your shadow. You know, I often share that example because it's a striking one, and it's a one that you never hear about. But it's not a year ago that I had someone who shared his pedophile tendencies in the group. I'm a father. There were 18 people, mothers in the group. Where in our society is a space for those parts? Nowhere. The answer of society, you're a bad person, we lock you away. And that's what's fundamentally wrong with our culture. Because what we do in the outside world, we do in the inside world. When we push away parts of other people, we also push away parts of ourselves. So when you come with a space and a vibration of radical acceptance and responsibility for your parts, you give permission to others to do the same. And then, my friend, they don't need to act out. And that, I think, is healing. To be able to take responsibility and express, you know what? I'm not proud of it, but I'm no longer ashamed of it. That's part of me. Maybe you've experienced something in your childhood that got you to develop a coping mechanism. We're not there to judge. We're just there to be compassionate witnesses, to use Gabor Mate's words. And that space gives the person to feel finally, for the first time of his life, or this man, fully seen and heard. And he could release the shame and actually feel the compassion and the acceptance from other participants. Because guess what? We all have some shitty parts we push away. We all have shameful parts when we cheated, when we lied, when we manipulated, where we don't feel we were our higher self. But our society tells us there is such a pressure of performance, of excellence, of being above and better and good over bad. And that's what doesn't work. So now look around, because what is attractive to you is authenticity. What attracts you is people who speak and are just themselves, regardless of what themselves look like. Because here is another secret. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Your parents don't care. Your children don't care. It's a human condition. We take care of ourselves. Right? And once you realize that nobody cares, then you start taking care of yourself. You start to take radical responsibility. And from that place, you show up in relationship, in parenting, in your sessions. And that creates a different field. That creates a field of safety and trust. And guess what? That's the Graal. That's the secret of transformation. There is nothing else you need to be obsessed about, but to create safety and trust in your connections. And again, it doesn't matter if I'm talking about you talking to your children or your husband, or if you're holding space for 500 people. It's about you creating an environment where the other says, you know what? I can be in that connection with that person. Because they're not projecting, they're not talking about me, they are just talking about themselves. So now I can talk about myself. And it doesn't matter if you're a yoga teacher, a breathwork facilitator, that will create the space. What doesn't work in all those sessions, what we hear over and over, and it's the number one mistake facilitators, husbands, parents do, is to give advice. And somehow we have been taught and believe that when a student comes to a teacher, it's because the teacher knows better and the teacher will tell you what to do. And people are constantly seeking, they seek teachers. So they go to the next YouTube summit and they will go to listen to a podcast and then they say, oh, tell me the truth. Tell me where should I go? And the moment you stop giving advice, the moment you give space to people to take care of themselves, to take radical responsibility for themselves instead of removing their and empower them, instead of maintaining in a state of victimhood, then all of a sudden they can access parts of themselves that they didn't even know they could access. So do not ever, ever again give advice in your life to anyone unless it's invited. When people come to me, I have a lot of advice to give, but they need to come to me. And that applies to also my children. You know, if they are going on their experience, because guess what? It doesn't work if I give them advice when they don't want to hear it. So it's not even a problem. And that's why I only work with people who come to me, right? They need to want to receive from me. If they come to me, then we can work. And I hope when you watch this, you feel, yes, I want to work with him. Reach out. I would love to work with you, but it has to come from you. You have to feel, okay, here is someone I want to be with. And guess what? It's exactly the same with people in your field. They will want to come to you. When the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And it's always true. It's always true. And people will meet you where you are at. So if you are stepping up with this attitude of curiosity and compassion, the same attitude that you had all over the years for yourself, then people will feel safe with you because they feel they will be listened to, they will be heard, they will be seen, someone is going to be present for them. And that's all they care about. That's all they've been craving to receive. Not someone who's going to tell them what's wrong with them and finally what to do in order to get better. Everyone's telling them that all their life. It's exhausting. But when you're in a space where I say, you know what, just take care of yourself. Here is the space. This is what breathwork is. This is what ice baths is. It's space. And we are getting you in where you can be with yourself. No one's going to interrupt you in my spaces where, again, it doesn't matter if it's in relationship or with my clients. The rules are one speaker at a time. There is no interruption. If someone speaks, I just wait. And if there is silence, I wait even more. And I just let them physically express that they are complete. And only then I just check how they feel. And I just check if they are in a space of receiving, of allowing. Yeah? Are people still in their process and there is things that needs to be unfolded? So I follow aliveness. I don't have an agenda. When people speak, I listen. But I don't listen thinking, what am I going to say? I observe myself and I stay in the vibration of, I really want to get to know what's going on for this person. I really am curious. And I'm going to follow my curiosity. You know, I'm a little bit like a kid that would go to someone who is in a wheelchair and is going to say, oh, why you don't have legs? You know, that question that can be embarrassing for parents who say, oh, I'm sorry. But people crave to be questioned. They say, oh my God, thank you. Thank you for asking me, and follow your own curiosity. My secret sentence is always the same whenever I'm in a space of connection. Say, I'm curious. No one's gonna reject me for saying I'm curious. Oh, I'm curious what it was for you when you heard this or when you experienced that. I'm curious. So I'm getting them to go into their emotional field, but from a very playful, neutral, childlike vibration, not from a place of, oh, I know what's wrong with you. Let me put you into a structure, a field, and then we'll get there. Yeah. I do believe that our spaces, whether it's circles, breath work, all those modalities, for me, in my experience, more powerful than the classic psychotherapy structure, where you meet someone once a week for 1 hour. I don't even understand why this is such a thing. How can you feel safe immediately? How can you arrive in a room and immediately drop your guard, drop your armor, and fully be raw? It takes time. As animals, we are guarded, we're protected. We're not just switching on, okay, I feel safe. That doesn't work like that. Trust is something that needs to be rebuilt, but you can't do that 1 hour a week. So when you are in spaces where you are for a long time, without end time, without pressure to fully express, to fully impact each other, to be together, then something magical happens. Then healing happens. Trauma happens in community and in connection. The healing is also happening in community and in connection. So I do believe, of course, as well as challenging the structure of a one-on-one 1 hour therapy, is just the idea of only doing talk therapy. We are not just minds. You know, if you are here, you're most likely into somatic practices. And combining somatic work and talk therapy, for me, is the growl, is how we should be doing things, because we need stuff to be moving. The emotions are stored in our fascia system. We need to move, and the energy is in the breath. That's why breath work is so potent. But I do always say that breath work is prep work. The real work is the integration of the breath work. The same way I have some graduates here who can tell you that the real work is not in my training, it's the integration after. That's where the real work happens. So we need to create spaces where we take that into account, where we really honor that the work and the healing is happening in the integration. And that's another common mistake that I see over and over, where people are focused on the modality that they facilitate, but not on what's happening after. Whatever we facilitate, what we do is we help doors being open. But it's, mark my words, transformation is in the integration. And when you anchor that and you create safety in the quality of the integration, and you provide the right support for integration, you will get completely different results for people. Again, people have been protecting themselves with masks, with shield, with armors, whether it's muscular tension, ego, personality, name it, they show up, they are not their authentic self. Yeah, they wear masks. It takes time for the self to feel safe enough to put down the armor. Who am I if I'm not an alpha male, a housewife, whatever it is that you're wearing as a mask? That takes time. Yeah, often the whole session. But once you've accessed some material, then a space of openness, of curiosity is what makes the transformation really wonderful. Another principle, again, those things are common sense, right? There's nothing I say that doesn't make sense. And that's something for you to receive. That truth feels right. When you hear it and your whole body is a yes, that's it. That's the direct transmission. When it's not coming from the mind, but it's coming from the truth of the field, right? And when you receive it as such, then all of a sudden there is no doubt. It's an evidence, and nothing I say is not an evidence. And here is the next one. I do believe in the work in community. And I don't really believe in one-on-one. Why is that? We're not designed to be just feeling trusty of one person. We're designed to operate in tribes. Look at the blue zone. People who live up to 120 years old around the world, the only thing they have in common is that sense of tribe, of community, of togetherness, of feeling safe with a group of people. This whole idea of I trust my husband and my husbands take care of me and that's it, or my parents, and I turn to my best friend and now I have 3 people and maybe my therapist and that's my resources. That's the mistake. To feel that I can create an environment for myself where I can trust and feel safe with strangers is the best. Because you get to drop that idea of this finding a savior. And people are attached to finding a savior, whether it's the next Huberman or whoever you're following on YouTube as a person who knows it all, or you go to that special person who knows it all. But instead of that, if you are coming to a field of I'm with strangers and I'm receiving so much from absolutely these complete strangers, it's a very different level of healing. It's a very different level of understanding. And it's where you enter the field of oneness. It's where you enter the field of radical, unconditional love. And because everyone's a mirror of each other, it brings you back to self-love, right? So what it also means, as a facilitator, the most common mistake I see is that the facilitators want to be in the light. So when someone says something, they share something, they feel they have to say something smart. They have to give advice, they have to bring some perspective, and it puts them above the students, above the clients. And that doesn't create safety, this sense of hierarchy, whether you're, because you are the organizer or the teacher. It's just this field of authority doesn't create safety. There is a sense of equanimity that is important for people to feel safe. And with that, I introduce you the opportunity, instead of coming back to you, to open to the field. So whatever the space I am, I can be with my children and their friends. And when something's going on, instead of me saying something, I just, hey, how does it feel for you guys? What do you think? I don't have to be formal about it, but just I open to the collective, whatever circle, whatever people I'm with. And now they are expressing impact that they're having on each other. And they get the secret of healing. You know it, you've heard it, getting a different perspective. That's what ayahuasca does, that's what psychedelic does, that's what breathwork does, is being able to see yourself from a different perspective. But you don't need substances. You just need mirrors. And when you are in a field where people are mirroring you and sharing how they got impacted by you, how it resonates with their own story, because they're not talking about you, they're just talking about their own story. It changes everything. You realize you're not alone. You're not alone with your bulimia. You're not alone with your suicidal thoughts. You're not alone with your weird way of connecting to your parents. Because guess what? We are all the same. We are all the same big fucking deal. You are born and you miss being in your mother's womb. And you can't get over it. And all your life, you're trying to create the environment where you feel exactly how you felt in oneness when you were in your mother's womb. And so is your father, and so is your neighbor, and so is everyone else on this planet. We all want the same. We have the same traumatic original womb. So knowing that, entering a field of just connection with humanity on these topics that I bring, pretty much every woman I've worked with have had some kind of sexual abuse or misuse. In most of my trainings, when someone brings the topic of suicide, 80 to 90% people raise their hand, says, me too. And I can go on. Who doesn't have an issue with food? yeah, in one way or another. Those are all universal topics. We all have a mother and father, and it sucks, mostly. So once you realize that and you can bring it to the group and everybody can share their own relation with any of these topics, it makes you see the world from a different perspective. It gets you out of your little narrow way of seeing the world, thinking, oh, but I know exactly what's going on. And it shifts everything. Because maybe someone is going to help you see the world from the perspective of your perpetrator. Whoa, you've never seen the world from that perspective. You've always had the belief that you're right and the other person is wrong, whoever that is, ex-girlfriend or parent, right? And you're attached to the role of victim. But sometimes you will get someone who can bring you a different perspective to it. And that is something amazing as a facilitator you can bring to the group. Let's receive one breath. A few more things, and I feel I want to open already for a little chit chat with you guys. But I find over the years that one of the secret of transformation, of safety, of creating trust is not only to know myself, but also to reveal myself, to reveal my reality, to own my experience. Usually, if I experience something, everyone else is experiencing the same, right? So now I'm in the field and something's coming up. And instead of avoiding, instead of changing topic, I'm going to breathe. I let myself be impacted. I let myself be human. I receive whatever is happening. And I tune in into the field. I look around. I'm not afraid of silence. I breathe, I observe. And I trust my intuition, my felt sense, my level of attunement to myself and to others. And from that place, my inner knowing will guide me. But for that, I cannot trust my brain. I need to follow aliveness. This is incredible. This is how life works. You don't plan everything and hope everything goes to plan. So why do we facilitate differently than we show up in life, right? So if you can show up in your sessions as you show up in life, and if there is no difference, and you're just living your sessions and bringing life to your sessions with just honesty, authenticity, vulnerability, integrity, radical ownership of your biases, it creates safety again, creates a place where people can connect with you. Because here is the next secret, actually a really big one. People don't attune to people. People attune to another person's nervous system. The attunement is at the level of the nervous system. So if your words, your action do not match your nervous system, ain't gonna work. They're gonna feel that's off. You can't fake it. Remember, we're animals. We smell, we feel, we connect at a deeper level. We know, we already know everything. We don't need words. We don't need you to say anything. We know if you're in your body, what is going on. If you're showing up as a master and you have absolutely no interest in me, I will know it. Are you in your heart? Are you in your mind? I will know it, and so will you. So own that. And stop facilitating from the mind. Stop facilitating in the masculine. What the world needs is regulation in the feminine energy, which is flowy, which is responding, which is allowing, which is trusting, which is surrendering. That's the field of transformation. That's the space of magic. Not control, not goal-oriented, no projection, no manipulation. That doesn't work. So it's important to create fields where you have space and freedom yourself. And most facilitators, they facilitate from the masculine. You're going to do an hour and a half breath work. We're going to start with some yoga movement. And after that, we're going to have tea. Well, where is the space for you? You don't. You just have planned everything. You have created expectations. And from that place, you expect to create some transformational experience. It's designed to fail. That's not how life works. You need to create space because magic happens in the unexpected. And if you're only working in the expected, you're not going to go not going to go anywhere. And that's a little bit uncomfortable because people like to control. So they like to know, oh, what it is I'm signing up for, what it is that is happening. So you need to find ways to be, creating enough trust and safety in the way you design your events and your programs, but owning that, I call it a flowgram. And I'm very vague about what is happening. Check my website, you have no clue what's happening. Purposely. I don't want you to be in control. I want you to surrender. I want you to allow. And if people relate and feel that is the field, that is the vibration I want to connect with, I know everything will be perfect, because that's the attunement at the level of the nervous system that matters. Not my words, it's the space that my nervous system allows. And for that, that's where knowing yourself is important. Going back full circle, you need to learn how to self-regulate. You need to have agency. You need to learn. You need to practice. You need to have a daily practice. If you don't have a daily practice, if you're not able to go through challenging situations and be able to navigate them like James Bond, knowing when to kill and when to kiss, well, how do you think you're going to show up when something's happening that is not as you expected? It's not going to work. So I recommend coherent breathing 3 times a day for 5 minutes to improve your heart rate variability. To take ice baths, that's what I love doing. Why? Because it's triggering and it gets me to develop my agency. So practicing stress, practicing being in the edge, so that this becomes familiar. And I love being in challenging spaces because, oh my God, bring it on. That's exciting. We're alive all of a sudden. Following the aliveness, it's very exciting. It's fun. It's unexpected, but that's where magic happens. And remember, people will not remember anything you say. They will remember how you made them feel. Because that's what we're in the business of. We're in the business of educating people so they feel more and not feel better. And that's another mistake of facilitators. They have expectation that people leave their sessions feeling better. And they project some kind of a field of course, if people come to me, I hope that they get something out of it and they feel better. And that's the mistake. You need to welcome everything and everyone and every nervous system without projection, without expectation. And it's for you to check if you create those expectations, where it's coming from. And from that place, all of a sudden, magic happens because people will feel safe. They won't feel that pressure of behaving or becoming or doing. I can fully be myself. You mean everyone is happy and I'm not, and that's okay, and I can still be welcome? That's what we want to create. That's the kind of spaces you want to facilitate. Where, like McDonald's, come as you are. All parts of you are welcome. But what we see over and over is facilitators facilitating fields where there is a lot of expectation. Are you okay? Do you feel good? All those little sentences that are there, it's like as if it's okay, you should be okay. I hope you're okay. Well, guess what? I'm not okay. Is that okay that I'm not okay? Can I be not okay? Can I be suicidal and here? Is that okay? Is there still space for me? That's the kind of spaces we want to create, where we drop the expectation, where we literally are just ourselves welcoming another human. But for that, you need to have done the work on accepting yourself. Because if you don't fully accept yourself, you're not going to fully accept others. You're going to be judgmental of the murderer and the rapist. You're going to say, oh my God, how can I be with that person? Well, then that's your work. But that has nothing to do with the outside world. What part of you are you rejecting right now? You know? And we all do. And that's very human because somehow we develop some protection to be accepted in the world because of the way the world is designed. You know? I share recently all the work I'm doing around my arrogance. You know? That is not the best quality when you want a girlfriend, when you want people to work with you, right? Because humility is a nice quality and arrogance is a bad flow. So we reject the arrogant part, but it doesn't work. And you can be as pretending to be as humble as you want. People will feel there is a lack of ownership and lack of integrity. So all of a sudden, people will not trust you. They will not trust you because you're arrogant. They will not trust you because they don't believe in your humility. And when you start owning all parts of you, then people will trust you because no one cares. They're not here to have an opinion about you. They're here to say, hey, is that a field where I can be fully myself? Whether it's in a loving relationship or in a training or in a workshop. Can I trust that person? And people who reject their shadow, they are not really, we cannot trust their light. So again, as I said at the beginning, it's quite simple, but it's not necessarily easy. I think I said it the other way around. So it requires patience, awareness. But for me, maybe I'll finish with that. It's what I get out of this work. What I get out of this work is that I do it for myself. I don't pretend that I'm a nice guy who's doing it for others. I really get a lot of this. I take care of myself. I'm doing it for me because I promise you 100% after so many sessions, so many experiences, the more you give, the more you receive. But what it means is you have to give yourself parts of you, reveal parts of you. That's what it means. The more you give, the more you'll receive in ways you don't expect. So where to start and where to go to get to know yourself? Listen to your body. That's where somatic come in. Because your body is screaming. It's telling you exactly what to look at. The parts of you that you're rejecting when you look in the mirror, those are the messengers. The diagnostic, the symptoms that you don't like, the headaches, the knee pain, the poor digestion, whatever is going on, those are messages that very often we disregard. Oh, I wish my body was behaving the way I want it to behave. I'm going to force you through medicine, through therapy, for you to be exactly like you should be operating. That's what the doctor is here for. Doctor, let's help me control that goddamn body who is having a tantrum. And that's the problem. You're not listening. You're rejecting. You're judging. You're pushing away. And now reflect on which parts of your body. You're rejecting. That's what cancer is. That's what autoimmune disease are. That's what diabetic is. And that's pretty edgy, and maybe I should put some should and would and maybe in the way I speak. But my personal experience with my own body is exactly like that. And here is what's crazy, and it's true. It's hard to believe, but it's true. The moment you fully listen, the moment you fully radically accept those wounded parts, the symptom disappear like that. And that's what truly healing is. And sometimes the medicine is bitter, right? But it's not bitter in a concoction given by the doctor. Maybe it's to own your arrogance, to befriend it. And the moment you are okay with it, you finally radically accept that part of you and you understand where it's coming from. Because if I'm arrogant, it's a coping mechanism. It's an acquired behavior based on my childhood and what happened. And my father was arrogant and his mother was arrogant, and everybody's developing some coping mechanism to be with each other. And here I am. So now, instead of judging it, I can observe it. I can laugh about it. And guess what? Then it doesn't control me anymore. Then I can just have a bit of distance with it. And I don't need the fake humility to compensate, which is creating distrust in my connections. And that's the antidote to your wounded parts. It's not some kind of a management of it through being different. Be more humble through this practice and that practice. This is what people would tell you. Here is what to do in order to be less arrogant. And that's the mistake. The way to go is to observe with curiosity how you show up, the manifestation in the body, and to inquire them, sit down, meditate, be with it. One of my practices is to connect with my ex-girlfriends and having incredible connection with these humans who have been sometimes for many years in my life and have heart connections, And because whatever they say, it's really, and if what they dare to tell me gives me insights of my unconscious behaviors, And if you create a space of safety when, those people you really don't want to talk to feel safe to share what's really going on, what happened with you, what happened for them with you, wow, what kind of insight is that? Imagine being able to do that with your parents. That's healing, But for that, we need to create trust, safety, attunement, self-regulation, stop projecting, radical responsibility, dropping the victim. All this is prep work, so you can go and do the healing work. I should not say that. I'm probably going to be banned again. But I do strongly believe that this is how we heal. But this is how we heal any manifestation in the body. Because the body's talking to us. And that's another webinar. So, my friends, I'm going to quickly share my screen. If you want to work with me, I have this incredible offering. And I would love for you to experience it. It's all my knowledge, all my practices for all in one incredible course. And it's all about what it means to be human. And it's a teacher training in breathwork. It's a teacher training in ice baths, in heartfelt connection, so circling, authentic relating, how to facilitate workshops that transform, and then explanation of what is trauma, how traumas operate, emotion, therapeutic touch, and the biggest and most important, integration. And for every section, you have a lecture You have very clearly a summary of that lecture, so it's super easy. And then you have homework. So it's a step-by-step guide for transformation. 170 steps to transformation. It doesn't matter really if you do it for yourself or if you do it because you're exactly already a facilitator. It's amazing. I'm so proud of it. It tells you everything about the breath from a science perspective, anything around CO2 tolerance and transformational breath work. So it doesn't matter what type of breath you're interested in. I cover it all. And I've done it in a very the way it's done is super fun. I don't do things in not in a fun way. So let me show a little one of those videos. There is an audience, so I'm doing it with an audience. There are 3 cameras, so it's done in a way that is easy and fun and flowy, and that makes you want to, yeah, just connect. So here is this guy who you already connected with. Maybe I have some places where we see. So I guide, it's very clearly explained. And some other videos, there will be people. So we do that for, you see, critical situations, challenges, things that could happen. And I guide ice baths. So, we do case studies, we practice. I don't know if I can show you with the audience, but there are like 4 people. So it's also quite alive and fun, and it's not boring. It's very alive. I basically recorded it for 10 days, I don't know, 7, 8 hours a day with people. And you hear me guide them, go through it, again with many cameras. So it's not just a bald guy talking in front of a camera. It's very hands-on. And yeah, so that's what I have for you. I'll put all the links in the chat. I also do trainings in person. So if you want to bring yourself to Bali or to India, I do trainings there. And that's about it for me. And now you can unmute and ask any question you want about anything, if you have questions. And if you're okay, I will add you. Raise your hand, maybe. Anything, could be talking about yourself or, yeah, I don't know, whatever. Triggers, hairstyle advice. But yeah, if you can raise your hand electronically, it's better for me. But Luca, go ahead.
Okay. So hi, everybody. I'm Luca. Nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here. First of all, I want to say I really resonate with most of the things you said about facilitating. I've been starting facilitating since a couple of months. I'm pretty new. It has been a challenge. So let's say I've been learning all the mistakes that you mentioned, also the hard way.
What is your question?
My question is, first of all, I would like to know how long have you been doing all this facilitating and training? Because I see like there is a lot of value of what you're proposing and offering, and I'm really curious about your background.
Thank you. What is your second question? If you had another
Sorry?
one. You have another question?
No, for the moment, just this one is fine.
Okay. All right. I remove you for now. So, um, life was my teacher. Yes, I've learned modalities, joined courses, but it's pretty much getting hit left, right, and trying to be happier because I've lived with depression, skin cancer, anxiety and stress all my life. No hair is stress related. White hair is stress related. It's quite known now. So yeah, I teach what I need the most. And I've learned and developed modalities because I needed them the most, and I couldn't. And I teach what I needed because I didn't find it in the world. I don't like therapy. I've been doing therapy, IFS therapy, traditional therapy, over and over and over, and I get stuck, you know. And the moment I'm in these spaces, it shifts everything for me, you know. And I didn't believe it was possible, but I could connect to joy. I could move my body again. I had 40 years of not 40, but 35 years of chronic lower back pain, you know, very much to the point where I couldn't have sex. That was so painful. Like really, like I've had to learn it the hardest way. And and I'm pissed off that these things that I share are not taught to absolutely every human. Literally. It's like, fuck, why are we taught all this bullshit, but we're not taught how to be human? That's why I call it the lost art of being human, because it's very much that. It's like, okay, here are tools for you to be happy, to have a full body orgasm, to find joy in your life, to be healthy, and to die healthy. You know, like this is what it comes down to. And yeah, man, literally, if it works for me, it works for everybody, man. I really don't come from a place of anything else but having had it the hard way, you know. Whether it's in rejection, in relationship, struggle with my children, parents, bring it on, you know. And yeah, but
Thank you.
this shit works, really. It just works, you know. When we are connecting in this field, it just works, and everybody can do it, and transform your life, and then transform people's life. Really, really, really. And it's the best job in the world for everybody. It's really the best thing you can do, because you every day you just wake up just filled with joy on the impact that you're having. That's what makes it amazing, you know. All right, Vidulika, turn on your camera. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, good evening, and thank you so much, Alex, for such a wonderful um, concept clearance that you did for the last 1 hour. Thank you so much. I had some questions related to what you spoke, and apart from that, one question as well about how can we go about your course. So, first question, Alex, I wanted to ask you. You said that we need to be true in front of people. We need to show our bad parts as well to them, as in like, the vulnerable parts, the real self. But Alex, I wanted to ask you in today's times, um, this seems a little difficult because the society in general is out there to get you. I'm talking about not people, learned people like you. I'm talking about laymen where one is after the other. So, and it seems like a Saha land. So I wanted to ask you, how is this applicable in today's times where people are zero humans? They can go to any levels to kill you for slightest of things that you've done. There are road rage cases. People want to just give out bad words at the
Okay,
snap of a
I
finger.
understand. I
So that's
understand.
first question.
Yeah.
Second question is how this course that you mentioned, that you showed us the slides, how to be a truly great facilitator. A, for how long is this? And you told us that it's there in Bali and India. And secondly, where is it? How long is it? Where is it? And what is the cost?
Okay.
Number three, do we get any certification from any certifying body? Like
Yes, I will answer.
three questions. Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
I like only the first one. The other ones, boring. I love the first one. Um, One of my key principles, and I hope I'm not going to shock you, but I call it fuck everyone. And it's, there is a moment where you need to take radical responsibility and stop caring for how you're going to be received. And, you know, that might be a lonely path. That might be a path where you will have to change some connections in your life. But that's their problem, not your problem. You have one life. You're worth it. And you know, trust me, I was in India just now with a group of Indian, mostly women, living a very traditional life, arranged marriage, all the problems that you probably know around, you know, the reality of what's happening in a traditional Indian family. So I'm conscious of what you are going through as an Indian woman, and but you still have only one life. And the moment you are stepping into your truth, but hear me out, don't judge others. You don't need to make other people's wrong for you to be right. You just express yourself, right? Because most people, they need to be others to be wrong. That's the mistake. You know, I don't have her here, but I just had a girl. Her name is Haitam. She is, she comes from the richest family on her island in Zanzibar. Traditional Muslim woman, and she was scared for her death, living a life of, you know, suppressed Muslim woman, trying to escape all that, but had to leave also the fame and the money, and chose to escape what she was going through. And now she went through my training, radical transformation. She was scared to death for her life, and she had her son there, so she didn't know what to do. And she thought if she goes back there, they're going to kill her. And I could share those words if you want. Send me a message. I'll send you her words, and I can connect you and what she shares. She has reconnected with her family. She went back to Zanzibar. She's wearing what she wants to wear. And her brother is there, and he's compassionate, and he apologized, and he feels he was scared. Because guess what? Husbands, parents, in-laws, they're all scared because of the bullshit society we live in. But everyone wants the same. They want to be seen. Everybody wants that. It doesn't matter which culture and which environment. And the moment you are taking ownership and you're not taking care of others, we're just expressing what is right for you without doing anything and caring for others, you give them permission to do the same. And it doesn't matter if it's your child, your in-laws, your husband, it just works. And you know what? If it doesn't work, you're still worth it. You know, and that's it. You know, the alternative is called cancer. If you just suppress all your life your truth, you're going to pay it. 80% of humans with chronic joint pain are women. 75% of people with autoimmune disease are women. They care too much. You care too much. That's the disease. That's the problem. Right? But I mean, and you're designed for that. You're designed for that. This is, you know, people always, what's wrong with our society is this idea of judgment between man and woman, and what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. That's the mistake. That's the cancer. Who cares? Who cares about opinions? It's not about being right anymore. It's just being happy. How about that? About being healthy. How about that? I don't care what you think of me. And I tell that on the first day of the training, leave me alone. I genuinely don't care if you think something good or bad about me. I don't care. How about that? Live like that. And the truth is, it's a decision. It's a decision. That's all it is, right? It's to realize that everything you believe is just a story. People are bad, they're going to go after you, road rage. It's bullshit. It's the news you're watching. Turn off the TV. People are amazing. It depends how you approach them. I only meet amazing people. All the women in my life are amazing, etc., etc. Oh, here, Haytham is here. So here we go. So once you realize that humans are amazing, that's the reality you're going to experience. You're going to experience amazing humans, including all the people you think are horrible. And that's the truth, and that's the magic. You need to drop judgment. Those people you're talking about, they're just doing their best. And maybe they developed some shitty coping mechanism. And that's why they rape, and that's why they kill. But go to prison. Go and work with prisoners. There's no such thing as a bad human. It's just someone who was in a shitty environment. That's why prisoners come from, underprivileged backgrounds with addiction, with violence, with all this shit. And what can you do? You need to survive. So you do what you need to do in order to survive. And that's what we all do. And we do our best. And that's all we do. And sometimes it's a shitty behavior. It's called stealing and cheating. But it's not because people are bad. So that's for that. My course is optional. You can do it at your own time. But what really works, it's a 2-year mentoring. It's 2 years with me because transformation takes time. It takes support, weekly calls, ongoing support, and this is the reality. So you can just access the knowledge. I'll send you a follow-up email with pricing and all. So you can just say thank you very much. I won't do that. Or you can join me for 2 years. And pricing. The truth is, everyone who needs this will get it. Because money is just something that we all need to function and pay bills and all. But if a human needs it, with me, we will find a way. And that's it. So, and certification are bullshit. So stop wanting approval from anyone. Who am I to tell you that you're worthy and that I give you a stamp of approval? I don't believe in it. I don't believe that a human is superior to another human. Now, to complete my answer, yes, you're certified. And yes, you're certified with a higher certification in the US. Okay? But I don't believe in it. Yeah, I do it because this is the world we live in and it's maybe going to get you more people to do it. But I don't think it's worthy of anything. You know why? Because all you need to do is pay to be certified. I pay, so you are certified. How about that? And it's the truth for all the certification. Most of them are just bullshit. It's just the reality. It's another business. All right, Miss Susanna.
Yes, hi. I won't be doing anything face to face at the moment. That doesn't fit with me, but I'm quite interested in the online. And I was a bit curious as well how it works. I was just trying to read up a little bit on the page that you sent the link. It was talking about some live sessions. So how does that work? Or is that separate from the course? Or
It's all optional. You can join just the long live access to the recordings, and that can be that. Some people don't have the agency to do live sessions. That includes access to like a Facebook group where I do lives and sessions and answer questions and have an ongoing support. And then you have the mentorship where we meet weekly. And you have a dedicated WhatsApp group where we support one another. And I would say most of the need is around personal resolution and integration of wounded parts. Because from that place, you will attract clients. So you don't, with this course, you don't need marketing, you don't need manipulation anymore. You don't need to, you're just gonna be yourself and realize that it's enough. And that from that place, people will just be attracted. And you just need to own your parts and be comfortable with just communicating about it. But then you will, according to the needs, I bring experts on, social media and Instagram and all these things. So, we answer the needs of the participants. And we hear inspirational stories that get you to have light bulb moments all the time. It's fun and it's exciting. And the bottom line, which is the most important, you don't have to do it alone. People try to self-regulate, and I talked about it, but co-regulation is easier than self-regulation. And feeling that I don't have to walk that path alone is the main teaching. It's like, oh my God, I can be with others in that space. So.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the things that I'm finding is that I've been doing a cold water plunging for a few years now. but outside here, not in the ice bath, but in the lake by us, especially in the winter, and that's been great. But I'm trying to work on more of a daily practice, and I think the breathwork part is something I'm very interested in. But really just to get back to myself, to remind myself to get back to me, because I think I've definitely been somebody who disconnected from my body in the past. I didn't like it. I didn't want it. I wanted to be different. I tried to pretend I was different to people, so I really wasn't in my body. And that now is something I'm trying to do, is to really get back to me and what is my body telling me, and how to work with it, and partnership instead of disowning it.
Yeah, radical love and self-love and acceptance, and really realize that, you know, I'm okay. I can just be me, and that's it. So thank you for that, and I'll send you a follow-up with everything.
Thank you.
And yes, Kanan.
Hi, Alex. So my question is that I have been back in my home since 3 days, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me um, seeking advice. I do tend to give a lot of advice, so I was refraining. But when they came in, I saw that they were looking for advice, seeking some kind of a fix. But in my understanding of attunement, I didn't feel that they were open to allowing or receiving anything for themselves. So as a facilitator, I want to understand how can a situation like this be managed where physically, verbally, they are seeking for it, but if you're giving it, it's not really work, like it's not really something that they're open or accepting to, and they are going about their own story or whatever that they have to say. So
Yeah.
a little bit on that.
Thank you, Kanan. And for everyone, Kanan just spent 3 weeks with me in India. So someone already asked how long it is. It's 3 weeks, whether you're in Bali or in India. So here is, for me, the answer, Kanan. There needs to be an exchange. If they come and they want to take from you, they're not going to receive. So for me, it's very easy. I don't work for free. You want to work with me, those are my hourly rates. You join my session, I'll do a private with you, and then we can work. Then they will come with a different headspace. They will really want to receive from you because they will value you, they will value what you're offering. So for me, as a friend, I'm available for everybody. But the moment I feel we're entering some kind of a, hierarchy where I'm here, I'm healing you or whatever it is, then we're entering my world, my work. This is how much I'm worth. This is and I have no problem with that,
So is that something you do with your family also? Like it's a little difficult to say that.
Yeah, you said friends. That's different, yeah. But families, that's very different. First of all, you don't do anything online. You really do things in person, and you really want to be with them, and you want to attune to them and listen to them, and then you just talk about you, and just feel into there, and just refrain from giving advice. Just just try to apply everything we learn in the course in terms of how you communicate and how you express yourself from a place of ownership and self responsibility and agency, and that's going to give them the space to talk. I remember, one of the most powerful conversations I had with my mother is when I was walking with her and I said, "Hey, I want to reveal something to you." Is an area of my life where I really struggle is when it comes to relationship with women. It's so many areas where I feel I'm happy where I am in life, but it's not the case when it comes to relationship with women. What it did is give her the space for her to talk about what's coming up in her relationship, So for me, the more I talk about myself and I reveal myself in an authentic way, it doesn't matter if it's with a client or with my parents, what I'm also saying is, you can also share some stuff that are a bit shitty. And what my mother shared after blew me away, and was quite a groundbreaking moment in my life. because she revealed things and secrets that I had, my nervous system was already perceiving, but I never understood. So, wow, all of a sudden I could understand why I struggle in relationship instead of, wanting to be better, wanting to have better relationship, thinking there's something wrong with me. Why I cannot keep a girlfriend, right? And instead of that, to start to get to understand where it's coming from, and from her hearing from her wounds, her trauma, and of course, hello, what she had passed on, then I came to a place not only of compassion for herself, but a compassion for me, and I stopped and I dropped it. And also this, I realized the pressure of my parents and of society, and many people can relate. So when do you going to introduce us to someone, and why you're still single? And there is something like, if you're single, something's wrong with you. Like you're only complete if you're in a relationship. What the fuck? So appreciating also what kind of belief system you're holding about what's right and what's wrong. It's right to have a girlfriend. It's wrong to be single. And just observing these parts. Thank you, Canan.
Thank you.
And we have Haitam who's here. Just so it would be cool to hear Haitam. Maybe you can share about your experience, because you've done the training, you've been back to your country, you're back in Bali somehow, I think. So yeah, just want to give you just some words, because I actually talked about you and I didn't know you were even there. So yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, I heard, I was like, did I hear my name? Because somebody was speaking to me. I was like, I think it was me. And then you started speaking. I was like, okay. I don't even know where to begin. But what I want to say
Do
is
me a
I
5 minutes
resonate.
a 5 minutes version of it, because I know
Okay.
you and
Okay, yeah, you took out my speed bumps when it comes to speaking. I was like, I couldn't speak, and now it's like I can't stop. I'm just speaking and just yeah, it's amazing. But what I want to say is I could resonate what you said, especially about, when we do this sessions, we see a different perspective. And for me, I grew up seeing my family as villains. And in our setup, we had people who during the breathwork, they show me the part of my family, but I knew them so close. They were such beautiful human beings. And it made me realize that, okay, we have, as humans, we have so many different parts. And just because somebody shows that part, it doesn't mean that's who they are. And I think that's one of the things that changed a perspective of how to see my family, and also the co-regulation, like, and the certification. Like, I came, before coming to your course, I have degrees, I have certificates of coaching, of doing anything, but I couldn't, because I couldn't connect. I didn't know how to connect to people. I didn't know how to regulate my nervous system. But when I was in that setting, it just helped me, put me back in the same environment where I got traumatized, and I could relate to people. It was like, I showed up, but just the way you received, how calm you are and how you reacted to all parts of me, when I'm like feeling like I'm gonna die, when I'm excited, when I'm scared, when every part you just you were so centered in yourself, and that helped me regulate myself as well, because every time I come to you, you don't react to me. You're just like so calm. So that calms me down. And even now, whenever I get dysregulated, I'm like, okay, how would Alex hold me in this? And then I become the self in myself is you, is Alex. So every time a part of me shows up, I come back to Alex, come back to the self. How would Alex hold me? And how would I treat this part? And you gave me an example of how to be this parent that I always needed, that I didn't have, a role model, somebody who could love myself. So I learned to love myself through you. And I messaged you day before. I was crying. I swear to God, I was crying for like 2 hours in the flight. I was watching this movie and I was just crying and crying. It was gratitude. It's just, I couldn't believe. I was like, I'm going back to Bali. Last time I was in this flight going to Bali, I was like, I'm never going back home. It's no longer for me. I'm not safe there and I'm never going to go back. And this time I came back, it was like, I felt like the thing that I was scared of the most, which is my family and them hitting me and then killing me because of what happened in the past. I thought it was going to happen again. And now we connected so deep and there was so much love that I just want to share with everybody that, things can just transform. And when we go inwards and just love ourselves and get connected to ourselves and change our perspective, then everything changed. Because I no longer show up as victim. Now I show up as in my power and everybody sees me as that. And it's just so beautiful. Yeah. And with compassion, for sure. So, yeah.
Amazing, Haitam. Thank you so much for that. And there was so much in your share, but it's what we are facing is just dragons, and dragons don't exist, right? We just tell ourselves stories, and we believe those stories based on our past and how nervous system happened and what had been imprinted. But it's just a story. And the moment you realize you're just facing dragons and you're ready to slay them, they disappear. And then you can have your second life. And whatever you think of, whatever you believe is not reality, it's your perception of it. And the moment you realize, wow, there is an alternative way of seeing the world, it changes everything, every part of you. And it's cool because you're no longer defined by your past. You're defined by your version of your future self. And that changes everything because you create your reality. And you live the life you want to live, not the life as a response to what happened to you. So thank you, Haitam, for your trust, your love, and your heart. And thank you so much. And I see you in Bali very soon. All right. All right. Tamara. Hey, Tammy. Tammy is also a graduate.
Hi, I'm Tamara. I'm from Germany. I'm a graduate from, I think it was 2023. Thank you, Alex, for this great masterclass. Again, I love your insights and everything you share. I have a question regarding self-care around facilitation, because I noticed, especially lately when I had many intense breathwork sessions, my dreams were very crazy and very vivid, and my sleep was very off and disrupted. And yeah, I'm just wondering if I'm missing something, if it's normal. I did a little bit of regulating breathwork afterwards, but I also wanted to go to bed and not have a 1 hour aftercare routine, you know what I mean? So yeah, just would love to have your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Of course. The role of sleep is to integrate in your body what has not been processed and released during the day. If people knew that, it would change everything, because you can go through a traumatic situation. If you can shake it off, jumping on a trampoline, going in water, making sounds, releasing somatically, and you can talk about it, you would not have the imprint. So it wouldn't have to be imprinted in the body. So understanding the importance of doing this cleansing work prior to going to bed, because you cannot do it after, right? And that's true for any traumatic situation you go through. Now, you will hear the classic things when it comes to self-care: water, salt, movement. But for me, one more thing is you are human. When you are hearing something very powerful, How are you letting it through? Or are you blocking it? Are you protecting yourself with a shield? Because that's the mistake most facilitators do. They just feel that if I'm not letting it in, I'm just staying in my role of facilitator, I'm blocking. You are exactly doing what created you to have already pain in your body. You are suppressing again. You are blocking again. What you resist persists, and you amplify it. Instead, allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to be touched. Allow yourself to be affected. Allow the human to feel that you are receiving what's going on. And let it through. And just feel, oh, I feel the tension in my neck now on this chair. And guess what? If you feel it, other person will feel it, if not everyone. And offer maybe a shaking moment, a releasing moment with sound. In the moment. A little bit like a child that is able to navigate different emotions from one to the next. Says, whoa, I feel the intensity. I'm giving myself permission to feel that this is affecting me because, I don't know, you've had an experience in your life that is resonating with it because of your personal story. And you feel, oh my God, this is actually affecting me. Denying it, rejecting it, pushing it away is a great strategy. Only one problem, it doesn't work. Instead, acknowledging it, naming it, revealing what is going on, it's the opposite of what a psychotherapist would have learned in their studies. It's completely going against the principles of psychotherapy. And guess what? Listen and read all about psychotherapists. They're all fucked up. Read Gabor Mate when he's guiding ayahuasca with the most famous psychotherapist in America. When sitting in ayahuasca, the shaman says, we don't want to work with you guys. You are too dark. Your energy is too dark. And they kicked out Gabor Mate from his own training because he's too dark. And you listen to Gabor Mate and he's carrying the concentration camp with him. So come on, something's not working in the way, and he's acknowledging it. I'm not, speaking, I love Gabor and there's nothing, but we are humans. Of course we're being affected. Of course we're being touched. So own it, be with it, feel it, and move it, and releasing it, and name it. Have a space. Maybe it's a circle. Maybe it's someone you can talk to. Or what I would do a lot, I record myself. So if I'm angry at a client, I tell them with name of birds all I think in a voice message. And then I delete it. Because it's not about being heard, it's about me being able to express. They don't need to hear it. I need to express it. And guess what? Replace client by my daughter. I will send her a message with really what I think. I don't need to send it, but I need to be able to have a space where I can fully express it. And then I'm not carrying it anymore. And then I feel lighter, and then I can come back into connection. But if I'm carrying it, if I'm heavy, if I'm suppressing it, because it's not okay to allow myself to feel that with a client, because I've been told it's not in integrity as a psychotherapist, then yeah, I would love to check the data on the link between being a psychotherapist and cancer development. All this suppressed and autoimmune disease. Thank you, Tammy. Love you. Hi, Tam, you wanted to say a few more words. We're going to close after that, guys. So hi, Tam, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to share about this online course. Like after I finished the 3 weeks, I remember you asked whether we want to facilitate. And every time I say, no, I'm not going to be a facilitator. This was just for me. But it wasn't until I did this online course, I felt the confidence to actually start facilitating because it was more focused on that. And I really loved the watching the videos on my own term. I think I shared that now I understand it so much more, because I feel I understand when I'm watching something on my own pace and keep on repeating the lesson. So now I feel like when I did my first facilitation, I was like, wow, this was so easy, because in the course, it just felt like it was short time. So now that's something that, yeah, it really, really helped me just go out there and facilitate someone who didn't even think that I'm gonna even facilitate. I thought I'm just doing this for me. So yeah, I wanted to share that.
I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I am very grateful for your time, your heart, your presence. I will send the recording. I would love to hear how it impacted you. So if you want to reply to my email with just the impact and any question you have, I'll happily do a follow-up with all the questions I would have received. And I'll send the link to the recording and a deeper introduction of the course. And yeah, happily welcome you all. All right, my friends. Bottom of my heart, heart to heart, sending you all love. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.